Hi everyone, my name is Reshma and I'm the Senior Vendor Engagement Manager at Foodpanda. So I think you guys join me for the What's on the Menu basic session. But today we will be doing the What's on your menu for the advanced session. Yeah, so I hope you guys will enjoy the session again. We have quite a bit planned out for you. And I'm going to be sharing with you, I think, a bit more detail in terms of menu management, in terms of pricing, in terms of how to make combos, and how to kind of keep enticing your customers with good photographs and ensure that they order and reorder once again. As always, I would like to say, if you have any feedback, a short survey will be sent to you. So please use that to kind of share with us what other topics you would like to hear from us, as well as if you have a word or two about me, go for it. You can drop it into the survey as well. Next, if you want to ask me any questions throughout this presentation, feel free to use the chat system. Otherwise, at the end of the session, I will just kind of address the questions accordingly. And lastly, if you want to learn more or want to share with your team a little bit more, either this presentation or any other presentations, feel free to head on to our restaurant portal where there's a section called University. A lot of videos and slides are there as well. Yeah. So let's talk about today and what we will be covering. So we'll be talking about the importance of accuracy, photo guidelines. We have quite a few guidelines at Foodpanda. And then obviously simple things like how to add your photos in the description. Next, I'll be covering things like how to make combinations or combos, we call it. So for seasonal times and holiday seasons where you want to make interesting combinations. Thirdly, how to keep your menu fresh with just existing items that you already have on your menu. And lastly, actually a very important one, how to actually request and then accordingly check your status, whether it has approved, pending, or even got rejected. Yeah, I think a lot of frustration comes in this section. So bear with me and let's just listen together. Okay, so let's talk about why your food needs to be very visually appealing and has some sort of standard of branding towards your particular product. So I think branding is key because it actually increases people from ordering, right? So example, chains like McDonald's, Subway, KFC, Burger King, these are all chain restaurants where people are already, firstly, they know your food and they expect some sort of consistency from outlet to outlet. So I think it's very, very important to keep that in mind as well when creating your menus. Next will be obviously your dish photo actually increases sales by 4 times. So I will share with you what dish photos are. It's basically the photograph beside your items, and that is something that you should definitely focus on in the long run when selling on an online platform. And lastly, description matters. So I don't know if you remember, but in my previous presentation in the basic menu management, I said that we will be focusing a lot on dish photos and description. So here we are today talking about it. Now let's talk about the importance of accuracy. Why is it very important? It basically gives the customers a realistic idea of what they're going to be ordering. What do I mean by this? Like I think I've mentioned before as well, that when you are putting a particular photograph which says burger, French fries, and Coke, your description says burger, and then the item that they receive at home is only a burger. So they will wonder or rather raise a concern to the customer help center saying that, hey, why didn't I receive my fries and my, a drink? But then we know at the end of the day, actually the fries and drink was not supposed to be part of the particular meal. So I think that kind of accuracy level is very, very important. Another example in terms of another version of accuracy can also be things like your photograph can be blurred, your photographs has watermarks, you have a discount label on your photograph. These are accuracies that we can try to remove as well. Next, obviously, portion size and visual. It is very important that if the photograph shows a decent size burger, what they should receive should be as accurate as possible. Not if you give them a brown picture burger and then they get like a charcoal bun burger. That is something that we can try to avoid as well. And lastly, I think it's just, we just want happy and satisfied customers, right? You do the role of the quality and the presentation, leave the delivery to us, and hopefully by the end of the delivery, we get a happy and satisfied customer. Okay, next, let's talk about tips and tricks in terms of adding photo efficiently. Firstly, as I mentioned previously, please start with creating of your menu. Secondly, once you're ready, plan well in terms of your dish photograph, right? What kind of photographs that you can actually upload, how many photographs you have, what are the food that you have cooked versus the photographs that you have collected, all of these things. We always suggest vendors to please set up some time to kind of get these photos taken and obviously concurrently upload it accordingly. Name your photographs is very, very important. If you require help from us to upload these photographs on your menu, please name it accurately so that our agents or the content team can upload correctly, right? We don't want arrabbiata to go into an Alfredo pasta and so on and so forth, right? I don't have to go into the details of that. And then in terms of prepping your photos, make sure that your photos are high resolution, they're in a specific folder so that you can speed things up. Again, if you're uploading yourself, well and good. If you need help from the content team, we can assist you accordingly. So now let's just show you an example of what a basic menu would look like versus a more revamped and I would say a beautified version of a menu. So on the left hand side, as you can see, the person has created a menu, simple words, simple item names, and then simple descriptions and obviously the pricing. Now just see the difference it will make with photographs uploaded. Yeah, so photographs uploaded and it straight away brings a bit of a light to the menu. Okay. Next, a very, very important topic, and I love specifying on this because a lot of vendors actually come back to me and my team to kind of talk about the guidelines of our photographs and why, when they're trying to upload and then they press submit, it will get rejected. I mean, they can't even press the submit button because the specification of the photos are not accurate to begin with. Right, so let's start. What are the requirements that we're talking about? The first thing is 1000 pixels times 731 pixels, 72 dpi, and your file size should be 200 kb. So this is already to start off. This is how you should do it. So 1000 times 731 pixels. Yeah. So this is step one. Step two, obviously your photos should be landscape. If it's not landscape, then you will get there'll be a white border. So try to make it landscape if possible. Next will be your number of dishes has to be 1. Again, the same way listing and banner photos, we do not encourage collages. Here we do not encourage as well. Because here you see this image in this particular site, it looks bigger, but when the actual photo on the application is a very, very small square. So it's square. Imagine if you make a collage out of it, we won't be able to see what your item is already. Okay, and the fourth one is your angle, right? Your angle will be top view if possible, top view if possible. And lastly, in terms of composition, try to fill up 80% of the frame. So example, your frame is this big, your photo should cover about 80% of it. Only leave the sides empty accordingly. And lastly, plain and simple background. So any like brown table, white background, and these kind of things, these are things that you can work on as well. Okay. In terms of listing and banner photos, so it's a bit longer, it's a bit different. 1440 pixels times 1053 pixels, 72 dpi, and 200 kbs as well. So this is an example. This one you can put multiple items but one photograph. Multiple items or one photograph. Again, it's the same landscape. One or more items, as I mentioned. So you can try to put a few items that actually explain your particular restaurant. Again, top view, 90 degrees angle. Fill in, same thing, 80% of your frame. And lastly, plain and simple backgrounds. Try not to make it too complicated. We don't want people to get deviated from your main items and your menu. Okay. Next, in terms of composition, what we're talking about is how viewers or other customers can see the different images and stuff like that, right? So this is what we are sharing with you in terms of the composition. So example, if it's a burger, maybe you can take a front view. If it's a a dish like rice or noodle, maybe you can take it at a 45-degree angle. And lastly, if it's a pizza or anything circular of that sort, maybe you can take at a 90-degree angle. So this one again is up to you and how you would prefer taking a photograph. But I think we kind of gave you a few examples here. Okay. Then in terms of styling, this one, like I mentioned earlier, if you're not going to give additional things to the customers, please do not have it in your photograph. So example, first thing, garnish carefully, right? So this one example, if you think that you're going to put coriander, make sure the coriander is also in the final product that the customers are receiving. Next, in terms of no extra dishes. So if you're not going to give the fries and the Coke and the drink, do not put it into the images. If you're not going to add additional condiments or salads or appetizers, do not add it in the photo. Let's just stick to the item that they will be receiving. Okay. And then third one will be just keeping it clean and simple, not too messy, nothing of that sort. And lastly, stay sustainable. So we wouldn't want your images to have any sort of plastic wrap. If possible, just take your normal cutlery and dishes that you have in your restaurant and take photographs accordingly. Again, I think something that I always share with the vendors is your phones. Your phones are good enough to take this photograph. I think it just needs a bit more detailing and just, really quality food that you can cook, garnish it well and take photos accordingly. I'm going to go into some tips and tricks in terms of photo styling. Just bear with me a little bit. So in terms of your photo styling can also be, make sure that your pictures are matching with what you are actually selling. So example, if you're selling nasi lemak, it should have coconut rice, it should have peanuts, sambal, your cucumber, and so on and so forth. We don't want a nasi lemak to be matched with, example, a pasta dish or so on and so forth. Then next will be obviously showing the customers what they get from the particular item. Make sure your colors are popping. Choosing the right surface, so like I said, just a normal brown table, white table, a yellow table, and so on. And lastly, just make sure that the dish is in the middle. Now, talking about earlier where I said you can just use your simple phones, but in case if any of you actually need some help with your dish photos, we got you covered. So we actually can provide you some photography help as well. So don't reach out to the team and, through the help center, just kind of raise a ticket to say that I need some help with photography. The team will come down accordingly and help you with it, right? So now in terms of spicing up your menu with the listing and banner photos, what you can do is just go to your menu management, select photos, and then upload your photo accordingly. So I think the GIF here is sharing with you quickly how you can actually do it. Right here, you can share. As mentioned earlier, photography services. So please feel free to reach out to us with a very minimal cost. We will be charging you to kind of take some photography dishes. But at least I think that this will quicken the process because we come down and take at least 20, 30 photographs, and that can just kind of help you with your menu to kickstart it already. Yeah. Description matters a lot as well. Besides photos, I think we've discussed photos now. Even description matters a lot. Customers want to know what they're getting. Customers like myself, I'm vegetarian. I would like to know what are the ingredients that are being used in the particular item as well. So I think this is something that you can definitely help them out. I think, as we mentioned here, is basically to kind of stimulate their interest with what they're ordering, managing their expectations. We genuinely don't want customers complaining to us that I did not receive a side dish or a particular item. And just lastly, in case if you have combo deals or anything of that sort, you can definitely upsell with some sort of add-ons. Okay, this is how you can update your description. Once again, the menu management, click on an existing item and then scroll down to see item description and kind of write it down accordingly. You can also use local languages like Chinese to kind of update your menu as well. In terms of any sort of tips that I can give you for writing your description is obviously including your cooking method, including your ingredients, including any sort of extras, any sort of flavors that they can look out for. And like I said, vegetarian, gluten-free, vegan, these are normal terms that you can use today. I think a lot of customers are looking out for it as well. And even nut allergy and so on and so forth. So please specify as much as you can for the items that you will be selling. Next, let's just do a quick quiz. But before that, I just want to take a breather in case if you're overwhelmed, you need a moment to think about it. So I think a bit of a recap. We covered the photography section and what are the types of tips that you can get. Obviously our photography services, and then next will be in terms of our description and a bit of tips in terms of our description as well. Okay, so now let's look at this particular dish. Can the dishes for dish level photos only be landscape? Is it only landscape or portraits are also allowed? Yes, you are right. Only landscape should be the photographs. Like I said, we are trying to maximize the space that we have given. So 1000 pixels times 731, right? Next one, listing and banner photos need to be the same. No, they do not have to be the same. They have to be the same structure, but they do not have to be the same. The same structure, meaning you can have multiple items in one image, but you can only have one image, no collage, but it does not have to be the same photos. Again, I want to recap from the basic menu management. Listing photo is when they are scrolling in the application, they can see the listing photo. Once they click into your particular menu, then they will look at the banner photo and then your menu is being shown. So that's the difference between listing and banner photo. Now, can you have props in the banner of the listing photo? No, you cannot have props. You can have props, but so no worries about that. So you can always have props for your banners and anything of that sort, but try to ensure that your main items are being shown accordingly. Yeah, so this is a fault. You can always have props in your banners and stuff like that. Now, let's talk about how you can make good combo deals, right? So combo deals is very, very interesting. It is really just utilizing your existing items that you have on a day-to-day basis and then uploading them accordingly in a different combination, right? So example, if I want a Christmas combination, a Hari Raya combination, or example for 2 people party, 3 people party, 4 people party. So these are different combinations that I can do as well for people, right? Let's start about why we actually create these combo deals. It is basically to upsell, right? We want people to buy a package of 2, package of 3, package of 4, right? Because package of 1 can be $20, but package of 2 can be, example, $25. And this will easily kind of upsell to them. Next, in terms of customization, if customers want to customize anything, they can also customize using the combo deals. And lastly, obviously, we are always about increasing the average order value, right? If the customers are already ordering 20, what is the 25? What is 30 for them? Yeah, they will be enticed when they see that, hey, this can feed 3 people, this can feed 4 people, and so on and so forth. So now, how do they create combos? All you have to do is create like a new category. As I mentioned, party of 2, party of 3, seasonal menus, anything of that sort. So create some sort of categories with different varieties and variations, and lastly, add-ons and toppings. So that will help your customers to customize and order from you accordingly. How to create a choice group?
In menu management, select choice groups on the left sidebar. To create a choice group, select create choice group. Input the details of the choice group in primary and secondary language, if applicable. Select the minimum number of choices customers should choose. If the choice is optional, select 0. If the choice is mandatory, select 1. The maximum number refers to the largest number of options customers can choose. This can be updated once you are done filling in your choices.
So now we have learned how to add choices and choice groups. So you guys can definitely go and check out the video a bit more on YouTube as well as our university section. So don't worry too much about it.
Select choice groups on the left sidebar. To create a choice group, select create choice group. Input the details of the choice group in primary and secondary language, if applicable.
Now let's talk about how you can actually attach choice groups. Yeah, how you can actually attach choice groups.
Return to your menu page. You can either add a choice group while creating a new item or add it to an existing item. To add a choice group to your existing item, select the desired item. Scroll all the way down to the choice group section. Check the box to select or unselect the choice group. Green tick indicates that the choice group selected applies to the item. Once done, tick.
Okay, so you guys can actually watch that particular video on YouTube and just kind of look into it a bit more, yeah? Okay, so now let's talk about keeping your menu fresh, right? How do you keep your menu fresh? I think what's important is, I think I've been talking a lot about seasonal items and party for two, party for three. So create the different interests that customers are definitely looking out for, yeah? See what they're looking out for, kind of understand, maybe speak to a few customers, what they want to have, any sort of combinations, any sort of sides that they want. These are things that you can definitely look out for. Drive order volume. We're always looking to add the extra $5 and $10 into their cart. And lastly, obviously, retaining our customer base. Yeah, retaining our customer base. So creating a category, as simple as creating a category, rearranging the order in terms of which your categories are being shown. So you can always bring up and kind of refresh your menu with just bringing up new categories. And lastly, obviously, adding items into the particular categories. Sometimes a lot of vendors create categories and then they forget to actually add items. So just ensure on that particular portion as well. Next, note that categories will only be reflected if there's one particular item. Like I said, sometimes vendors forget to add particular items into that category. Now let's talk about some tips and tricks. Obviously, plan ahead as always. Keeping previous seasonal categories just on your menu as well, but you can always add new categories. And lastly, always refresh your categories with just kind of playing around with the sections and pushing the newer categories on top into the bottom. Please go to the restaurant portal, play around with the menu management tool a little bit more, and you will understand and see how this actually makes a difference. Lastly, I just want to cover a little bit in terms of your request status. I think a lot of you ask us about it, so please just bear with me. So how do you actually check your request status? You can actually look into the restaurant portal, the menu management section on the bottom left, as you can see the image. There we'll be talking about your pending, rejected, and approved. And this is how you can see for each item what is the status accordingly. So these are the colors for the different status. We are, I hope less of you go in the rejected portion for your items, because I know it can get very tedious and tiring to do it. So hopefully everybody goes under pending or approved. Yeah, pending or approved. Next, I'm not sure if many of you are aware, but we give you notification emails when your status is being approved or rejected. So please make sure you have switch on the toggle for your notification section as well. As the image shows here, you can always just toggle in terms of your menu change request to get email notification. So I think today we have covered a lot of combos and how you can make good combinations, how you can talk about in terms of your visual, your branding, which is obviously your photographs and your description. And lastly, obviously talking about how you can check on your statuses. I'm just going to leave the session here for another 1 minute in case anyone has any questions. I want to obviously say thank you on behalf of myself and my team. We hope you have learned quite a bit from the basic menu management webinar as well as the advanced menu management webinar. I want to reiterate that we have a restaurant portal, so please use that to kind of chat with us, talk to us, live agent discussions, and obviously the help center. Next, we have the university section within the restaurant portal where you can check out for any sort of videos and guides. Thirdly, we have the Facebook page where I'm always encouraging vendors to join us. We just opened it a month ago, so please come and join us over there. And lastly, the YouTube channel where you can watch any sort of videos. Thank you, everybody. I don't see any questions on the chat. Have a good day. Sayonara, and we wish you the best to improve your menu and sell more in the near future. Bye-bye.